San Giuliano del Sannio is located here, in Molise, in Italy. Nestled amongst emerald green hills at 629 meters above sea level, the town overlooks Tamaro River Valley. The magnificent Roman city of Sapinum stands here. Also known as Altilia, the area served as an outpost of the Roman Empire in what once was the territory of the Samnites. The town is located 15 kilometers from Campobasso, the capital of the region, and only a short distance from Campitello Matese ski resort near the historical Trattura Pescaceroli Candela route. This territory has been the site of historical figures, conquerors, kings and queens, dukes and marquises, breeders and peasants, bandits and witches. Rich in history, San Giuliano is surrounded by pristine nature with vast landscapes and the possibility to wander and experience them in many different ways. A rich, lively green vegetation and dense woods encircle the small village. It is possible to walk around them thanks to the many hiking trails such as Cais Nicola Antonio Pedicino, named after a renowned botanist and a valuable scientist who in 1872 gave life to the botanical garden of Portici in the province of Naples. Everything is lulled by the perpetual flow of water. Water is an abundant resource in the area. There are numerous springs and fountains along the ancient paths. The generosity of the land was exploited in order to operate numerous mills until relatively recent times. Grain milling was a key element for the development of the town. It's possible to visit one that is in operation even today. Let's just say you can go back in time by following the sound of water. The origins of this borough date back to the proud Samnites. Relevant traces of Roman walls are preserved within the municipal area, ascribable to the layout of a Roman villa that belonged to the imperial era. Ongoing archaeological excavations are returning abundant ceramic material. The finds attest that said villa belonged to the Nerazzi, a family that acquired a leading position within the empire's culture, administration, and political power. The structure strategically located denotes an interdependent connection with the nearby Roman city of Altilia. The archaeological excavations of the University of Molise are revealing how the settlement gave rise to a form of archaeological colonization and the stable population of the area. In fact, the first actual structure of the town was built on a hill, surrounded by plains and streams. The historic center, which still remains in its original structure, is indisputably of medieval origin, between the 9th and 11th century. Even today, in the oldest part of town, called Fosso, it is possible to observe the surrounding defensive scrap walls and its foundations, which are partially visible and partially merged in the village. It was possible to trace the medieval name of the village thanks to a 1098 document, Castrum Sanctus Iuliani, feud of the Norman knight Roberto de Molina, nephew of the Count of Boiano, Rodolfo de Moulin. Since then, until 1800, several feudal lords succeeded one another. Each and every one of these interventions has left traces in the forms of coats and arms and symbols on architraves. The beautiful Marquesale Palace, located at the center of the town square, is attributed to the Severino Longo family. The Marquesale Palace has undergone several restorations over the years. Its structure and quadrangular architecture was kept unaltered. The large entrance portal was needed for the transit of horses and carriages. On a wall inside the palace, there's an epigraph in the memory of the stay of Ferdinand II of Bourbon and his royal entourage in 1847. Today, the Marquesale Palace houses inside the Ascanio Filomarino Duca della Torre Seismic Detention Station, the Hall of Remembrance with plaster artworks by the sculptor Michele Guerisi, the permanent exhibition of the veneration of San Nicola, which was curated by the Cultural Association Insieme with photos, finds, and documents. The palace originally had a defensive tower, which was later restored and transformed into a clock tower at the beginning of the 20th century. The tower is simple in its structure, but rather suggestive, given the excellence of its impressive stone blocks, battlements, and embrasures. Nowadays, the building houses an epigraph collection from the municipal area, 5 epigraphs and a sarcophagus, as well as an ancient peasant tools. San Giuliano del Sannio has 3 different sized churches. The Chapel of San Antonio is a small chapel that rises near the main square, built by the people in 1700. The Church of San Rocco stands at the highest point of the town. The wall structure, the flooring, and the entrances are entirely in stone. The altar inside was built by precious polychrome marble and dates back to 1700. The Church of San Nicola di Bari, which is the most important one of the village, has undergone numerous transformations. The primitive Romanesque chapel was destroyed by the earthquake of 1456, and then replaced in the mid-16th century with a Renaissance church. The later was demolished by the earthquakes of 1805, and was then rebuilt, but larger. The interior has a single nave with a lion sculpted at the base of the stoop. The church is enriched with frescoes by Trovisonno, a Molisane painter, and a 16th century tabernacle. The statue of San Nicola from 1724 by Giacomo Colombo is worthy of attention. The statue is surrounded by valuable sacred vestments and looks majestic during the blessing. San Nicola is a fundamental element in the town's history and identity. The patronal feast dedicated to the saint takes place over 2 days, the 8th and the 9th of May, which coincided with the reenactment of the translation of the saint's relics. This event plays a primary role in the hearts of the residents of San Giuliano and those abroad, in the hearts of devotees, and even in those of the less devout. The particularities of this festival, what makes it unique, are many. The auction of flags takes place on May 8th, in which the citizens gather in the square to take part in competition to have the honor of carrying the 2 flags that follow the saint in procession. One for emigrants from North America and one from emigrants from South America. The renowned weighing of children, which takes place in the church to reaffirm the protection of the saint towards future generations. And of course, the impressive Rifleman Parade. First appeared in 1820, the figure of the rifleman is closely linked to the events of those years. Citizens who were skilled in the use of the weapon were hired for reasons of public order. Their devotion and the habits of the time soon led to the customs of the firing shots in the air during the feast. The parade, established later, regulates these behaviors, and over the years there are numerous citizens, many of them young and of both sexes, who take up shotguns loaded with blanks and wear traditional rifleman's costume. Escorting the saint through the streets of the town, the improvised musketeers shoot powerful blows in the air, which mix with the perpetual sound of the bells. Among moved hearts and a few harmless frights, the tradition is carried on with devotion and inventiveness by the Fucilieri di San Nicola Association and the party committee. A distinct show in the region and a rare one at a national level. Ancient traditions of the town are also brought to life owing to the Compagnia d'Arte Popolare. Over the years, the group managed to renew itself with great determination, and it brings songs, dances, and customs of past to the stage. Some of these customs include the processing of hemp, courtship, and traditional dances and lullabies. For many years, the group has sponsored a major international event. Every year, different folk groups come from all over the world, taking turns bringing colors, songs, and dances from their hometown. The Incontri Festival displays the need to be curious, to learn more, and to be discovered by others. But San Giuliano del Sannio isn't only its environment, history, and traditions, it's also sports. In fact, the town has its own multi-purpose sports field surrounded by greenery. Over the years, it has hosted major football teams such as Lazio and Cagliari. The facility, which is still in operation, is among the most beautiful in the area due to its location and wonderful natural setting around it. There are several associations that seek to exploit the natural resources of the area. It is possible to practice skeet shooting in the specialized shooting range found in the area. You can go horseback riding or learn to gallop at a suitable facility. The ASD Atletico San Giuliano del Sannio Sports Football and Foot Race Association also organizes major events every year, such as the Percorrendo San Giuliano race, with a large number of both professionals and amateurs. For motor lovers, there are other opportunities not to be missed. The Zavora Bikers Group organize an increasingly popular annual motorcycle rally, as well as excursions and motorcycle rides. Whereas for four-wheel lovers, the famous San Nicola Slalom is held every year. This one is a prominent event that draws professional sportsmen and amateurs into town, making it louder and full of energy during those days. The typical dishes of the San Giulianese cuisine has been preserved over the years and passed on in almost every household in town. You'll be able to find dishes such as macaroni with walnuts, bacala, aracanat, very typical during Christmas time and extremely flavorful. Fiadoni, typical during Easter time. Pizza and minestra, which re-elaborates simple ingredients for a nutritious dish, which could provide comfort after long, busy work days. Some, even among the youngest, also carry on the production both of bread and homemade cheese and cold cuts. Good food, nature, sports, history, and hospitality. These are just some of the many things to experience in this territory that is waiting to be explored. San Giuliano del Sannio is a town nestled amongst emerald green hills, full of history and possibilities. You're the only one missing. We'll be waiting for you.